The boars will kill you. That's the first thing you need to know about Windrose, the pirate survival game from Kraken Express that has spent the last 2 weeks dominating Steam's bestseller charts and dividing its own community over what kind of game it actually is. After spending time playing in the early access build, my read is that the loudest critics have come in expecting one kind of game and run face first into another. Windrose treats its combat as load-bearing, and players who accept that on its own terms will find the most interesting pirate game in years. Hello, I'm the real-life Fake Wizard, and this is a Fake Wizard's review of Windrose Early Access. If this video brings you any value at all, hit the subscribe button, as we're posting lots of reviews every single week. This project has an unusual biography. It was originally announced as Crosswind, a PvPvE pirate MMO from a studio with no prior credits. Somewhere between announcement and the April 2026 launch, the team, operating as Kraken Express with Pocket Pair Publishing handling Japan, gutted the PvP, refocused on cooperative survival, and changed the name. Mid-development pivots like this usually leave visible scars, and with this game, you can still see them if you're looking for them. Windrose enters the market at a strange moment for pirate games. Sea of Thieves has long settled into its long-tail niche, and Skull and Bones limped to release without scratching the itch most players wanted. Into that vacuum sails an early access debut from a 60-person indie team that has already moved over 1 million copies and held above 200,000 concurrent players. These are sales figures you'd originally associate with a publisher-tier release, not a first project from a studio whose name most people only learned a month ago. The opening cinematic doesn't waste your time, which I count as a minor virtue. Blackbeard ambushes your ship in pursuit of some mystical artifact, shoots you, dumps you overboard, but the artifact's residual magic keeps you breathing long enough to wash up on a beach, where the actual game begins. From here, Windrose hands you rudimentary tools and a vague directive about revenge, and then steps back. You start by chopping wood and assembling a shelter, and eventually you'll repair a real ship and earn your way into the naval combat the marketing leans on the hardest. The structural beats are familiar to anyone who has played games like Enshrouded or Valheim. Combat is the part of the game where my experience and the loudest community complaints diverge most sharply, and I think the critics are pattern matching to a game Windrose isn't trying to be. There's a vocal contingent who want the encounter design to forgive button mashing and reward sloppy spacing. But what Windrose is instead is something closer to a Souls-light system, where timing-based dodges and stamina management both carry real weight, and where a misread tell against a low-level enemy can absolutely cost you that run. To be clear, I am not a Soulsborne fan at all. I don't play those games. I don't have the patience to run them, and whereas Enshrouded was quite heavy on the Souls-like combat, my takeaway with Windrose was finally a game that was difficult enough to be a challenge, but light enough to not make me want to smash my keyboard. The graphics are more impressive than I expected when I heard this game was another survival action RPG. Your character's swings have visible commitment. You can see and feel the moment a stab is going to land or whiff, and the recovery frames mean a missed attack will cost you. Enemy telegraphs are consistent enough that once you've fought a particular kind of enemy a few times, you can stop dying to them. There was a point in playing this that flashed me back to playing Pirates of the Caribbean Online nearly 20 years ago, a comparison I did not expect to be reaching for in 2026. And what I mean is praise. That game was a lot of fun, but my mom didn't want to keep paying for it. I was still a kid then. I was a nearly 80,000-year-old kid. I think the single quality of life feature I like the most with Windrose is proximity-based storage. When you're standing within range of your base, every storage container becomes accessible from any crafting bench, so you don't have to remember which chest holds your iron and which chest holds your clay. Also, there's a quick dump button. Have plant fibers in your bag and in your chest? Click Q and dump all the matching items into that box. This is a massively awesome feature and the kind of design decision a studio makes only after putting long hours into other survival games where chest management is a tedious time sink. Tools and weapons don't degrade, which removes another small tax on engagement. Hunger and light are the only meters you actively manage most of the time, and even hunger functions more as a buff system than a starvation timer. None of this is groundbreaking on its own, but the cumulative effect is a survival game with unusually well-considered ergonomics. The naval layer is where my reservations start. Ship-to-ship combat itself is excellent and fun. It's decisive and more arcade-leaning than the rigging and pulley system realism of Sea of Thieves. Cannonballs are effectively unlimited. The boarding action you trigger by bringing an enemy hull to low health pays out in lots of loot. The problem is what happens between fights. Kraken Express has made the deliberate decision to remove wind from the sailing model, on the theory that nobody wants to spend 20 minutes clawing upwind toward the next quest marker. I understand the design logic. In execution, though, my ship moves at the same speed no matter which way I'm pointed, and the speed turns out to be not fast enough to make long crossings feel like anything other than an enforced screensaver. It seems like the devs understood this as well, as the recall and fast travel systems that open up a few hours in is more or less required for gameplay. Once unlocked, fast travel becomes the way you actually navigate the world. What Windrose does, it does with conviction. The combat is a thing most survival games cannot get right, and Kraken Express has built a system that asks you to pay attention and rewards you when you do. The ergonomics around that core are unusually thoughtful for this genre. The opening hour does more storytelling work than most full-release survival games even attempt, and I quite like that about this. The sailing function, I think, needs more work. It's just too slow, especially when things like Kingdom Hearts 3 have sailing features that went faster and... Well, Kingdom Hearts 3, for all its flaws, did have a pretty good pirate segment to it. The story is the wild card. Whether it graduates into something worthwhile remains to be seen, but I really hope it does. That's kind of exciting for a game like this. I came in expecting a competent survival reskin and left convinced that Windrose is the most interesting pirate game I've played in a decade. If this video brought you any value, smash that subscribe button and let us know in the comments. Will you be sailing the high seas? Until next time, create, innovate, inspire, and for the love of God, cancel Disney+.